What I can do about that.
Hey everybody, it's Les from Rialto. Nice to see you. Les with one S at rialtoacademy.com. So happy to be with you today and so happy to be bringing to you your friend and mine, Mr. Alan Rice. Hello, Alan.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Les.
Good morning. Alan's in his car all ready to go train, and he's going to train today on the topic that we're going to speak about today. And so that's convenient. We caught him in his car headed over there. And today what we're going to talk about is techniques that we have used. Alan and I have grown a great many businesses, especially in real estate. And these real estate businesses, they will double. And there are a few things that they have in common when we double these businesses. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs haven't thought about how simple it might be to double their business. And so we're going to talk about a couple of those points, especially the counterintuitive choice where a lot of entrepreneurs have doubled their business by hiring somebody. It's very interesting. Let's start at the beginning, though. Alan, what are some ways that you have met entrepreneurs taking a look at their business and doubled them?
Well, you hit on probably the primary one, Les, and that is looking for leverage, particularly around people and attracting talent. So that becomes a key element. And also there's other system things. When we talk about leverage, you and I and our clients, we talk about really two components in leverage. One is systems and the other is people. And so we've got some ideas and some points to make about things in each one of those categories.
Right. I know what you mean. And sometimes systems will precede leverage. And in my experience, at least, Alan, sometimes systems will precede leverage if they are really lacking for systems. Yet sometimes the leverage is how the system gets installed, like database. A lot of entrepreneurs just will not and perhaps should not be the one to go learn the CRM, for instance.
Correct. And that's where leverage truly is identifying that talent that will be able to supply that need, that gap in your systems. And so you've hired the right person when they are in a position to develop the systems that you've been looking for.
And it's also responsible, right? Sometimes we have these dialogues with our clients about, is it responsible for you to be doing things way below your pay grade? And can you do more of what's at the top of your pay grade?
Right. Well, again, a lot of times what I'll say is, let's make sure that you are doing the things that only you can do. If there's anything that's taking up your time that someone else could actually do and probably do better, you're going to benefit.
Yeah, that's the same language that I use. Maybe I learned it from you. And I also do a simple exercise that I recommend to everybody who's listening and watching today, which is, let's say that at your level of work, you're making about $100 an hour. All right. And let's say that some of the tasks you're doing, like putting numbers in boxes or pressing the buttons on the CRM, let's say that some of those things are things that you would never in your life hire somebody at $100 an hour to do. And let's say you found somebody who is excellent at that, I'm going to say for $15 an hour. Okay. And so them doing it, maybe they're even better at it. Odds are that if you have the profile to have the vision and launch an entrepreneurial business and get it going, odds are you lack the behavior profile to do extremely well at pushing buttons and writing numbers in boxes. So the question I'll ask my clients to loosen their minds up on this, Alan, and I know you use similar tactics or the same tactic, which is when you have this person who does this job better than you, do it for $15, or for easy math, I'm going to say $20 an hour. Oh my gosh, we're splurging on a college student who is amazingly good at this. We're going to give them the highest paying job they've had in their college career, $20 an hour or something, and they're better at it than you. So it used to cost you an hour of your time, which is worth about $100, and now it's going to be them at $20. And so the question is, how much has the entrepreneur changed the bottom line of their business? And of course, most entrepreneurs will say, what? What do you think?
Wow, that'll be plus 80.
Yeah. And I'll have to point out to them that's a good start. Yet actually, it's 180 because you got your hour back.
Yes,
You
indeed.
can go make you can go make your $100 like you do. And so the power of leverage, when you look at it that way, is just a lot more. It's more than double what many entrepreneurs think that it is. They have not calculated the full cost of getting their time back to do what only they can do for the business, to quote Alan.
Yep, yep. And it's a lot of times we have to fight that tendency to discount our own time. And so that's a great example when you hold that value of your hour, in addition to the fact that it's going to get done probably better than what you would do. So,
Yeah, I have a story where one of our fantastic Rialto operations people, whose name is Piazza, she's been with me for a long, long time. And one day I was busy doing assessments and coaching calls and having a great day with clients at a high level. And I got a form from our website company, rialtoacademy.com. You see it right over here. Rialtoacademy.com. And they sent me a form and they said, oh, we need this information from you. And it was about a page and a half of fill in the blanks where I was supposed to look up an ISP address and put in physical address. And I tell you, as a ID is my behavior profile. As an ID, I broke into a sweat and I started to think, oh no, who's going to do this form? I'm the worst person and I would never assign this form to me. Right. And expect it to get done right away. So I'm asking the question, who not you, right? Who not you is going to do this thing? And so I got a hold of Piazza and I said, Piazza, can you knock this thing out for me? And she does, and she returns it, I'm going to say 10 minutes later. And it's beautiful. Everything is filled out. Everything is right. It's even built well. It's attached. Everything is ready to go. All I have to do is forward this email, right? And Piazza sent me a note afterwards saying, Les, I love to do this sort of thing so much. I really appreciate you let me handle tasks that are important to the company. Give me all of these things. So she did it better than me. She loved it. It took 10 minutes. Yeah. It would have been pretty darn foolish of me to attempt to slog through that thing at my behavior style compared to her. Do you hear that sort of thing too, Alan?
Oh yeah, all the time. And that's just what I mean. We get, a lot of times as solopreneurs, as we start, we're do-it-yourselfers. We're doing everything. And so it really becomes key to really identify talent that, like you say, does it better than you, faster, and they love it.
Yeah, they love it. They find the thing that you find nerve-wracking, they find it satisfying if you have the correct behavior style in place, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, is making sure that match is there.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that no behavior styles are better than the other. Okay, it's not about judging people that way. Yet the problem is if the behavior style doesn't match the task, and your behavior style as an entrepreneur is very likely to be with other portions of running your business than tasks like that. Whereas other behavior styles, like my wonderful operations person, Christina Piazza, her behavior style suits that, and she just rocks it much better than I could ever do, really. And she's good enough, and your leverage can be good enough that if they catch you doing something you're not supposed to be doing, even though you own the business, they can point out, hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. That's mine.
Right.
Go bring a client. I got the form. Go bring a client.
That's right. Yeah. And I think too, when we try to do it all ourselves and not leverage, then it kind of bolsters our ego a little bit too, that nobody can make out a form like me, and kinds of things. So I think, we've got to fight that a little bit with ourselves, just the whole ego thing.
That's a great point. There's a lot of ego in saying I can do it all. So we have written a couple of courses, you and I. Yes. We have nerded out and taken a pretty deep dive into this subject. Alan has written a wonderful deep dive course into identifying, hiring, onboarding, and managing talent called Attracting Exceptional Talent. And it's a fantastic course. And from time to time here at Rialto, we offer it as a webinar, and Alan teaches it around the country and is available to teach it if he has open dates. You can reach out to me and I'll help you connect with that. And then I had the good fortune to write a course called Building a Top Team, which I did to a baseball theme, Step Up to the Plate, what was it? Step Up with a Bat, BATT, Build a Top Team. And in Build a Top Team, I mainly focused on going from solopreneur to a fourth level team of 4 people. And so we want to bring to your attention what that growth looks like. So I said in the intro of this thing, we were going to talk about the ways people have doubled their business. And so one of the ways people have doubled their business is certainly that they never understood the primacy of lead gen. Wouldn't you agree, Alan? That's one of the big ways?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And adding talent really frees you up to be able to focus on that.
Right. And then we could say the same thing about database, right? Is that a lot of the businesses that come to us haven't activated a database, and they aren't putting all of their clients and communicating in a database, whereas mature businesses that we see might get 80% of their business out of their database. I guess that's empowered by leverage too, huh?
Absolutely. And we know the numbers that work there. We know that for every 12 people in our database that we know that we've had communication and contact with, for every 12 people, that's going to generate 1 or 2 pieces of business, usually 2, and usually one of that is direct business from your database, and the other is a referral to somebody else who's not in your database, and now you can see that you're building that database to a bigger number just through the referral process.
And by the time you get that database up to an activated few thousand people or even 2,000 people, and you've had as many years go by as people tend to spend in their home in your area, it might be the primary source of your revenue going forward from there.
Absolutely. And again, it just is getting into, well, we've done this course before. You wrote this course on habits. It's just getting into that habit of systematically. Now, when I say systematically, sometimes people hear that as sort of quick and flashy and narrow or thin in terms of message. And I don't mean that. I mean authentic contact with people, and
right.
And that makes a difference. So that's that habit of touching those folks X number of times per month, so that you can stay in the front of their mind.
Yeah, Alan, I think you touched on one of the objections that solopreneurs have when getting into that too, which is scripts and touches, and are they going to be authentic? And they have some fear they're going to lose their authenticity, whereas that's really a limiting belief in my experience. Yeah.
I mean, we all have to practice words that we're going to use and phrases if we're going to use them well. Now, some have the gene where, they can just go from scratch, but most of us are going to want to sort of map out those specific words so that they convey a great message. And so if we want to call that scripting, okay, but how you deliver it, your tone, inflection, pace, your cadence, that all contributes to the authenticity of your message. It's that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And I'll often tell a client that if they don't like the word script, we can call it something else.
Right. Yeah.
Words that work, dialogues that have descriptions that have worked before. A great trick when you're teaching your people how to use scripts or dialogues or prepared dialogues is to ask them how they give people directions to their home in such a way that people never get lost. And they'll immediately give you their best script, and It'll have all the correct things and you can say, well, why do you say it that way? Why do you say go get in the left lane immediately after that turn and stuff like that? And they'll say, well, because if I don't, someone might get lost.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not different. It's the same thing. We want them to arrive at their conclusion. We're going to use the words that work.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So lead gen is definitely a way to double your business. And we see a lot of solopreneurs double their business through a primacy of lead gen. And then also lead gen being empowered by a hire, by leverage, a system and a person to run the system for you. And then, of course, a database is another way of saying that we're going to be talking to that community, and that's empowered by a hire. So we just wrote a blog. We just published a blog this video is going to go out with about the cost of a bad hire. The cost of a bad hire, what's the relationship between the cost of a bad hire and the benefit of a good hire, Alan?
Oh, well, we do this a lot in terms of asking people their perspective on the cost of a bad hire, because there's the obvious costs, lost time, money spent, things that you can readily attribute. And then when we start to delve into all the other indirect costs, reputational damage, issues in culture and in terms of your group or your team or your company. And so we get totals. Some people will say, over $1.5 million in money and reputation can be lost or spent on a bad hire. And so it really, when you look at it in that context, okay, what will it cost you for a great hire versus the cost of a bad one? So definitely gives great context.
I agree. Also, I think I might add to that time. If you have the ability to become a profitable business by applying some leverage, and it takes you a year to hire the wrong person and get them out of your business, I guess the amount of profit you have coming to you in the year when you get it right, that could have happened last year at that point.
Sure.
So it's the cost, opportunity cost as well.
That's right. And, the thing too about hiring is wanting to make sure that, as we said earlier, we've got a great match, and it's also hiring to our weaknesses. See, we have to fight the whole mini-me syndrome where, well, I'm going to hire someone in my image. Well, you don't really need that. What you need is somebody that is actually different on the other side, if you will, of your strengths. And oftentimes, that it may not be the person you're going to say, hey, they're my best buddy. Whereas if you hire in your own image, you tend to like the person more than necessarily manage them or help them. So it's important to hire to your weaknesses and to recognize that. And you said it earlier, Les, that person is going to push you. That person is going to say, hey, where's the this, where's the that, especially if you're the only one who can provide it. It's your responsibility. So
yeah, and let's help people to understand the numbers. So a solopreneur, and some of this information you can find in the popular real estate book that all of you should know if you don't know, which is Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And Mr. Keller in that one will refer to level 1, level 2, level 3, the author, Mr. Keller. And so at level 1, it's quite likely, depending on the market that you're in and the details, it's quite likely that if you're doing 25 to 35 sides as a solopreneur, and then you go to second level where you have hired an admin that is capable of greatly supporting your activity and doing a lot of the 80% while you stay in the 20%, it is not uncommon to double or triple the amount of sides that you can do at level 2. And another thing that I think is very interesting about that is that when I interviewed a whole bunch of top producers about when they moved from level 1 to level 2, from level 2 to level 3, and 3 to level 4, they all spoke really fondly of level 2. It's almost like, and some of them were really large businesses now, yet they talk about, oh yeah, when it was me and my first great admin, that was excellent. They're real fond of that. Do you find the same thing?
I do, and it's a time when expansion sort of starts to really get going, and I think it's that excitement, that growth time that we all feel fond of when we look at our past experience, for sure.
So there's a doubling or a tripling available there by hiring somebody. It's just amazing, and all the levels are not created equal. So you could double or triple going from level 1 to level 2. yet you don't really double or triple going from 2 to 3. 3 is it's not one of the sweet spots. 2 and 4 are definitely sweet spots. At 2, you're liable to double or triple with 2 people. And then when you have a seller representing agent and a buyer representing agent, a second admin who is doing some of the stuff that's in the 80% of your first admin, who's probably now becoming a manager for your team, it's very likely you can double or triple again. So fourth level teams, and Build a Top Team at least, we have fourth level teams capable, and a bunch of examples of fourth level teams doing 200 sides.
Right, right. Yeah, and I think you made a good point too, Les, on just the mindset around adding talent as being an investment as opposed to a cost. And I know we're kind of working with words here, but really, when we look at it being an investment, I like to look at, as Keller pointed out in the book, a 3 to 4 times return on investment. So if you're gonna spend 25, 30, okay, $50,000 for a talented person, well, we know that should produce 3 to 4 times that investment. So 150 to 200,000 of additional GCI is going to be available to you now because you're not doing forms. You're doing those things that really only you can do, and it centers around lead generation and not investing your time with forms and information sheets being filled out and packages being put together.
Yeah, putting the addresses and contracts and phone numbers and
right.
all these sorts of things that really don't take the owner of the business to do.
Right. And it feels like, as a result, so you feel like, I had a robust day today, but it's being robust with those high impact activities. That's the key.
That's excellent. Well, I hope everybody heard that loud and clear. I think that last description Alan gave us is really the mindset that we're looking for. That, like we said at the top of the recording here, that it's a little counterintuitive that you're going to hire somebody and double and triple your business twice in the process of hiring your first couple of people, and how fond everybody is of that sweet spot of level 2 and your first assistant. Yeah, you really do need to get that right. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure assistant is the right word. We're going to say admin, because it's somebody who's capable of growing into the management of your company and keeping things going. So Alan has this fantastic course, Attracting Exceptional Talent, and it comes complete with onboarding forms and other techniques, scripts for the interviews. It's a really robust course that gives you everything that you need. And Rialto provides an assessment. And Alan, if you're lucky, Alan's going to do it. If you're not as lucky, well, your other author about talent will give you a hand. That's me. And we can assess, is that the thing holding you back the most? I did one last Friday, right before the weekend, and this agent was telling me about their business, and they are fortunate to be in a great market, very healthy market, in the $600,000 side category. And I said, how many sides are you doing? And they said 68 sides a year. And their days on market is running about 60 days on market. So that's a lot of showings and a lot of tasks to do. And that's a great example. That person is going to double or triple their business when they get a great admin. They're absolutely ready for a great admin.
Yeah, sure.
So we have these assessments available for you. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, you might go over to the Rialto Academy website right there and sign up for an assessment. Yet if you're getting this in the newsletter, you can look down below, and there's a link where you can sign up for one of these assessments, and you can find out if it's a missing person that's holding your business back from a doubling or tripling experience. And we'd be happy to help you with that. We love to work with ambitious professionals that are growing their businesses. And Alan, you are so good at this, and that course is so good, Attracting Exceptional Talent. What have we missed that we want to close with here for these folks?
Well, I think the key thing too around mindset is it's really going to be a process where it's going to be a great learning process on how to make that evaluation around people and role. And while it feels like sometimes new stuff and it feels like a heavy burden, it really does have such a benefit and make such a difference in your business. So I would just end with, if we are always on search for talent constantly, whether we need somebody or not, we're going to start to build that, what I call an external bench of resources. And so if nothing else from today, your time today, think about the talent that you run into daily, whether you need them or not, and begin to look at people as being on your external bench. They're getting better, and you're not even having to pay them to do that right now if they're working for somebody else. But build your external bench, and then you're not going to be hiring people when you're in panic and your hair's on fire and you've got to have somebody. You will have identified bench prior to that. So be on the lookout for talent.
That's fantastic. Perfect description, Alan. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. So keep your eyes open for talent. Let them know you recognize them. Maybe do a little something to help them. Check on them. Stay in touch with them later on so that you have talent available when you need it. And let us do a talent assessment and see if that's what's holding your business back from a double or triple. All right, Alan. Safe travels today. Have a fantastic workshop, buddy.
Thank you, Les. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
All right, everybody. If you you can reach Alan, he's not hiding. You can find him, Alan Rice. Also, if I can give you a hand, that's Les at rialtoacademy.com. Les with one S at rialtoacademy.com. Thank you. Stay in your 20. Recognize that talent. We'll see you soon.